Okay, so things just exploded inside the federal courtroom in New York. It's day 32 of the U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs, and right as the jury starts deliberating, boom, a note drops that flips everything. Apparently, one of the jurors, juror number 25, is refusing to follow the judge's instructions. Yes, seriously, this could completely derail one of the biggest trials we have seen in years. So what's going on behind closed doors? What does this mean for Diddy? And how bad is it really? Stick around, guys, because I have the entire breakdown. So it's June 30th. After nearly 2 months, guys, 2 months of court, 28 days of testimony, 34 witnesses, the jury's finally handed the case. Their job? Decide if Diddy's guilty of racketeering, sex trafficking, and moving people across state lines for prostitution. Huge stuff that could put him away for life in prison. So this morning, Judge Aaron Sabramian spends more than 2 hours walking the jury through the legal instructions. Basically, it's a rule book on how to weigh all the evidence. But by 11:30 a.m., the 12 jurors, 8 men and 4 women, they headed into the deliberation room to, go over everything and decide the case. But then at 11:48, the first note comes in. Juror number 5 is named foreperson. He's a 31-year-old investment analyst from Connecticut. Pretty buttoned up guy, okay? Everyone thinks, cool, things are rolling along smoothly. But then it gets messy. At 1:25 p.m., barely an hour later, the foreperson sends another note. And this one's a bombshell. Quote, "We have a juror, number 25, who we are concerned cannot follow your honor's instructions." Yeah, that's not what you want to hear on day 1 of deliberations. Now the judge has to figure this out. Is the juror just confused or straight up refusing to play by the rules? So who is this guy? Juror number 25 is a 51-year-old scientist. He's got a PhD in molecular biology and neuroscience, loves opera and nature documentaries. Smart dude. But during jury selection, he admitted he'd already seen the 2016 hotel video. Yeah, the one with Diddy chasing Cassie down the hallway, kicking her, beating her, all of that. But he said that he could still be fair and that he could weigh both sides of the argument, that didn't really cloud his judgment in this whole case. But now his fellow jurors are flagging him as a problem. The note doesn't explain what he's doing, just that it's enough to raise concern. And that vagueness, it is setting off alarms all across social media, I'm sure all in that courtroom and everywhere you can think. Like, people are really trying to figure out, like, how did they get to that conclusion so fast? Is he being defiant? Is he being ornery? Like, for them to send a note to the judge this quickly, something is really, really wrong in that room. Now, after this, the courtroom goes into overdrive. Prosecutors want to follow up immediately. They suggest sending a detailed note asking whether juror 25 is just confused or actively ignoring the law. Their draft is long and loaded with legal jargon. But Diddy's lead attorney, Mark Agnifilo, he pushes back. He's like, hold up. It's way too soon to start dissecting the jury's process. That could mess everything up. Now, I'm not sure why he would do this, because it could be in his favor to call this out. So something is not really going on right to me. Again, this whole case, every time I think I know where things are headed, something new happens that completely throws me off. The defense wants to keep it simple. Basically, just tell them, hey, keep going. Like, literally, ignore the note, just keep going. And he's ignoring the jury instructions. But the judge steps in and says, enough, figure it out together. 10 minutes. That's what he gives them, 10 minutes to figure it out. So by 2 p.m., they land on a compromise. The judge sends a neutral message. I received your note. I remind every juror of their duty to deliberate and obligation to follow my instruction on the law. With that instruction in mind, please continue deliberating. So essentially, listen, tough it out, figure it out. I'm not dealing with this right now. There's no mention of juror number 25, no drama, just a reminder and a warning. Don't send any more notes with inside details from that jury room. Just do your job. So why is this a big deal? Now, if this feels like a small hiccup, I want you to trust me when I say it's not. In a case this massive, all 12 jurors need to fully agree on every count. If even one person refuses to play ball, that's a hung jury. No verdict. Months of work and millions of dollars wasted. Victims will be re-traumatized. Diddy's fate is left dangling. And let's not forget the timing. It's June 30th. 4th of July is right around the corner. It's this weekend, 4-day weekend. The court is closed July 3rd and 4th. These jurors have already given up their summer, Memorial Day included. They're sitting in sweltering heat, and now they're staring down a long weekend. That pressure to wrap things up is very, very real. Analysts say holidays like this can push juries towards rushing towards a consensus just to get out of there because they don't want to do it anymore. But if one juror is digging in their heels, that gets a lot harder. And I would assume if it's this one juror frustrated them to the point that they had to send a note to the judge, things are getting ugly in that room. And that juror must be holding out for something, we don't know what. So that begs the question, what's up with juror number 25? I mean, honestly, like I said, we don't know exactly. The note doesn't spell it out. Maybe he's just lost in the legal language. Racketeering, guys, it's a beast. It involves proving at least 2 criminal acts tied to an organized scheme. Maybe he's stuck on Cassie's video. He made it seem like, it made an impression on him. Maybe it's clouding his judgment. Or maybe he's just clashing with the rest of the jury. Things get heated during deliberations, especially with the kind of testimony we've heard from Cassie, Jane Doe, detailing alleged abuse, control, coercion. The prosecution paints Diddy as a criminal kingpin. The defense says it's all wild, but consensual. Juror 25 could be struggling to reconcile those two pictures. Now remember, this isn't the first juror drama. This trial's already had its share of juror issues. Earlier in June, juror number 6 was removed for lying about where he lived. He claimed that he lived in the Bronx, but he'd actually moved to New Jersey, making him ineligible. Diddy's team fought hard to keep him. He was one of only 2 black men on the panel, and they argued that his removal hurt the jury's diversity. But the judge said no, and they let a white alternate step in his place. That caused tension, and now with juror 25 under scrutiny, things are even more delicate. If he's removed, they'd have to bring back 1 of 5 alternates who were just dismissed this morning. It's a total logistical nightmare. It's a mess. The stakes couldn't be higher. And here's a quick refresher of the charges that Diddy is facing. Count 1, racketeering conspiracy. Prosecutors say he ran a criminal enterprise. If convicted, he will get life. Counts 2 and 3, sex trafficking. Did he coerce Cassie and Jane into sex acts? Each one also carries a life sentence. Counts 4 and 5, transporting for prostitution, basically arranging travel for sex. Each count can get up to 10 years. The defense is pushing hard to reframe it all as consensual, adult behavior. They're also pointing fingers at the accusers, especially Cassie, arguing she has financial motives since she filed a civil lawsuit too. But bottom line, juror number 25's vote matters, and it matters a lot. So what happens now? Well, the jury is still deliberating, and juror 25 is still in the room. The judge's note was a gentle nudge, I will say. But if things don't smooth out, we might see the judge interview juror 25 one-on-one. If it turns out that he isn't willing or able to follow the law, he could get booted. If not, the jury stays deadlocked. We could be headed for a mistrial. And if they do reach a verdict, you better believe the world is going to be watching. Either way, there's going to be eruption everywhere, especially on social media. Guys, this trial has been wild. And the latest juror drama just adds another twist. But what do you think is going to happen with juror 25? Will they be deadlocked? Is he stuck on that Cassie video, just not vibing with the legal instructions? Or maybe he's just standing up for something that the others aren't seeing? Drop your thoughts. Let me know your comments because I want to hear what you think. What is going on? This case is wild. But also, guys, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button and the notification bell because as soon as we get more information, I will be breaking it down and letting you know exactly where things are landing, we'll say.